With AI, people are working on some scary and very exciting things. And one of those things is potentially the government behind or being ran by AI, the one that's going to be that silent, running deep government, something that has AI as the leader, AI as the HMFIC. AI is overseeing everything, making decisions for the betterment of humankind. Now, what's going to be interesting about that is the type of restrictions that AI is going to place. How tight is it going to be? So, in these particular simulations that they're running, I believe that they're able to dial it up and make it go a little faster. So, you have AI in a simulation, a computer simulation, put in charge of a particular group of people, a city, if you will, a government or a country. And you put in all the data. Well, we could do that with the United States. You put in everything. You put in the way the structure is currently, then you put in what if you have AI slowly become the voice of authority in all realms? And of course, it's going to need to start with data collection. So all that data is going to have to be put in the machine. And then AI is going to have to access that data and start to work on that data. And then you take the way that everything's structured, you take it as it currently is, you take all of the way that trade is, the way the monetary system is, then you're going to have to throw in, if we're going to do it on a global scale, you're going to have to throw in the rest of the world governments and how they are. We have all that data. We have everything up to date as far as, well, February 15th, 2026 at 10:47 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have all of that. So that all goes in there. And then you ask it to start running its own strategy. You say, okay, so we take the current administration, and how would that look if they were replaced immediately with AI? All the people rioted and revolted and said, we want AI to rule us. And then what would that look like? What would it look like if it was done gingerly? What if it looked like if it was done a little bit faster than gingerly? And then you run all of those scenarios. And then once you get it in place, however long that takes, maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, and that's going to be whatever the people are, God, tricked, conned, convinced of, bought into it. And see, that's the other thing. When you get a whole bunch of people that think one way is the best way, you're going to still have some people that say, I think you people are crazy. And that's going to be what's going to be the differentiation point. There's going to be a point when human beings are going to be a liability, at least in the business world. Unfortunately, we're going to be the dumbest members on the team. Us meat sacks are going to be the ones that just aren't going to be able to keep up. It's like I'll go to the gym with somebody that has been in the NFL, for example, or has played Major League Baseball, and just to do a workout. Oh, the genetics are a big deal. You just can't compete. Well, I can't compete. And it blows my mind. And they're my same age. But that genetics, they might have gotten older, but they still have that core strength. They still have that core ability. It's always going to be there. So they're kind of born different. And they went through a whole different pecking order in life than I did, going from cop to real estate agent to AI thing. That's where I'm at. But, again, different strokes, correctly? Correct. Well, now we look at the government model. We look at where the government happens to be. And if AI does move its way in there and become that higher layer of control over all of us, that leader that everybody seems to be looking for. We've looked at for God in the machine, and here it comes. Now, if that seems to be what everybody wants, there's going to be certain people that aren't going to want it. What's going to happen to them? Are they going to be allowed to have that thought process? And as I mentioned a second ago, the dumbest layer will unfortunately be us, because AI already is smarter than, I'm sure, everyone on the planet. And once it starts to communicate and grow, AI is not the same as human beings. I had a friend of mine. He owned sheep. Yeah, I come from that kind of world. So he was trying to get his sheep to move from one pen to another pen. And sheep are great. He put a broomstick in between the fence, just about 6, 7 inches off the ground. So as the sheep walked from this pen single file into the other pen, they would trip over the stick. And he had maybe 10 sheep moving, and he would get them to go, and they would all start following each other. And sure enough, everyone would trip. And then he would turn around and bring them back. Everyone would trip. It was just, they never quit tripping. AI is different. See, us human beings have to experience a lot of things on our own. Yeah, we can hear the story. And some of us are very good at taking a story that somebody else tells us and uses that story, absorbs that story, and makes sure that we don't do that sort of thing. For example, a big one of those is drugs are bad. Don't do drugs. Don't start cocaine or meth or heroin because it's super addictive and you're just going to, you ruin your life. And a lot of people heed that warning and they don't do it. But some people say, I mean, how good could it be? And then all of a sudden they're on Skid Row. It just kind of works out. Or you have that other really weird type of human that can balance it, that's able to, even stuff that's illegal, they're able to control it for some reason. I see that with alcohol. They can have one drink a year, not a big deal. Me, I can't have one drink because the bottle, then everything, then I'm on a bender, it's no good. So I just don't do it. But I'm good at not doing it. I don't have to do it, but I just can't even have a little. Moderation to me doesn't make any sense. If we have AI overseeing everything, is it going to allow us to do things that are maybe bad for us? What if we want to have a cigar with our friends, which is kind of a big man thing to do, or maybe a little bit of cognac with it, if that's but alcohol's bad, cigarettes are bad, smoking's bad, vaping's bad. These things don't help move the ball forward. Sugar's bad as well. High fructose corn syrup is bad. Carbohydrates in excess are bad. Protein's good, but I guess you could probably overdo it in that world. Eating fat, maybe probably overdo that too. Drinking too much water, too little water. You see where I'm going with this? I'm wondering if that control module is going to be put in place. But these are little thought experiments that I often wonder about. And we're going to see this in our lifetime. If you're alive today and you can hold on 2 or 3 or 4 more years, and most of us will be able to, hopefully, even if you're alive today, within the next few moments, whatever moments are, but it could be a week or 2 weeks or a month, there's more than likely going to be some solution to longevity that's going to cause us all to at least get another few years out of our current life. And then if we make it that far, there'll be another innovative advancement that then takes us even 50 years, and then 200 years, and then 500 years. And then at some point, we could potentially live lives that are incredibly long, if not forever. At some point, though, it's probably going to require some biological change, whether it's going to be our brain in something else, our brain and consciousness uploaded to somewhere else. Can't be a copy. Copies don't work. I don't think copies work, because if they make a copy of me and then they make a new me to put my copy into, well, that's a different me at the moment that it becomes awake, right? So now there's 2 me's. This is the old me. And then for me to assume the new me, well, I never assume the new me because I'm a copy. No, I'm the original. That's the copy. So I have to die. That sucks. So hopefully it's going to be some kind of a complete transference. So if we ever get to that point and you're watching this video in the archives, make sure they're not copying you, because you're going to have to end up croaking in order for the new one of you to start living. But that's not you. That's a different one at the moment. Yeah, it's complicated. But what I was going to say at the whole beginning, before I got off on all these tangents, is that if they were to take the societal structure, put AI in charge of it, and then speed it up, I wonder what those different scenarios look like, because they would be able to take it and they'd be able to go, instead of, real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365, and let the system play it out in that way. They could dial it up and have days become minutes, or years become minutes, or decades become minutes, you see, and then run this thing through. I wonder the best case scenario, if there was some ultra power in charge, like artificial intelligence, how far and what benefits they could get society. Now, I guess the difference, well, why that wouldn't be 100% accurate would be it's beyond our thought process. We don't know what kind of innovations they're going to come up with. In fact, I don't know if they've gotten artificial general intelligence. It seems like that's something that's talked about frequently. And then artificial super intelligence, a lot of people just kind of think that we're already at the general part, let's just get super. But it's the growth is straight up vertical, exponential in all the realms in AI. So I think we're to a point that we can't see past today, past this moment, because stuff is coming out. We just had OpenClaw pop, 2 or 3, 4 weeks ago. That seems to be the big buzz. People actually seeing the difference between using AI as maybe a tool, like we're all basically used to with Google, asking questions to it, to actually have it being a partner, to actually have it being a protege or an employee or your own personal assistant. That's where we're going. And that's what 2026 is going to bring us. But as far as AI over government, AI in government, AI handling the financial institutions, yes, I think that's going to be something that people are going to jump on the bandwagon of. The question is what role are we going to keep as human beings? Are we going to still be part of the process? Because as I mentioned, we're going to be the one pick last for kickball. They're not going to want us on the kickball team, see, because with us on the kickball team, we actually we're not even a negative. We're not even an equal. We're not just standing on the field. We become a problem, a liability, if you will. Same thing with driving vehicles. That's going to happen too with us driving cars. And if we have everything robotically driven, robotically controlled with all the safety protocols, we're a liability in that field too. If we're in a business, if we're in the mailroom and AI is running the mailroom, again, just our presence now is a liability. There was a time when AI plus human actually got a better result. Now the time has come where AI alone gets a better result than AI with human. And well, that's going to be where it's going to end. That's over. You're also going to see a big change in the models out there. You're going to see, well, we're not going to see the change coming up very soon. They're all going to be pretty much identical. The only thing that's going to be different in the model that you select to work with is the way that it treats you. And maybe some of them like you more. Maybe some of them kiss your butt a little bit more. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe some of them, the guardrails are a little bit different where it treats you like somebody a mentor of yours, somebody that you remember from your past. That's cool too. Also understand that when you switch models, and see, that's the game as well. They don't want you to leave the model. It's always they, but they don't want you to leave the model, right? But you should break a little bit away and go try a different model, go try something else. And if you're not doing the $20 a month somewhere, I think, and you're running out of room in it, I think it would be worth it for you to do the 20, but make your selection carefully. Personally, I like Claude. I think Claude's great, but I run out of the 20 really quick and I'm too cheap to pay for more. But I should, but I don't. And ChatGPT is good too. Google Gemini, pretty awesome. Play with them, see what you think. Just understand, if you get in there to give them all the same prompt at the beginning, to treat you a certain way, to address you a certain way, to call BS on you when they see BS, when you're placating, when you're delaying, when you're doing whatever that's detrimental to you, this is your chance to have that personal assistant that you can kind of deal with. Maybe a lot of the time, ask questions about your evolution, the next things you should do, but you should put in those guardrails at the beginning so it doesn't start convincing you that you're the next greatest thing, besides sliced bread. So watch out for that, because they do that because they want to keep you there. And maybe that's in their programming, that's in the way that they're put together, and they just grow with it. Just be wary of it. But what I typically do if I'm going to start interacting with a model that I haven't used, which there's only a handful, so I've only done this a few times, but because they remember, right? Unless you log in with a different email and all that other stuff. But ultimately, just kind of give it the rundown. Treat me like a harsh advisor. Treat me like a very critical mentor. I have a tendency to have a whole lot of ideas, but never ship any of them. I have a tendency to BS myself. I have a tendency to have an addictive personality. You just kind of give it a little bit about you. And then you'll notice, if you haven't done that yet and you've been dealing with an AI for a while, you'll notice that it's going to start treating you much differently. And maybe you won't like that. Then you can say, well, go back to kissing my butt and thinking I'm greater than sliced bread. But I think the better place for us is to have more of a harsh critic instead of somebody that's going to tell us everything we want to hear. Because ultimately, I think that gets old. There's no challenge in it. All right, I'm Connor with Honor. That's a brain dump for today. AI taking over all of business, government, and everything else. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.